Well, everyone, it's another amazing day. We get to talk about the Nintendo Wii, but this time around, it's not a review. I really want to highlight some of my favorite reasons why I would recommend people to buy a Nintendo Wii in 2021. Now, this console came out many, many years ago. It's not a brand new console anymore. In fact, it's like at the end of its life cycle. Nintendo's not even supporting anything about this console anymore, but I really don't think there's been a better time to pick up this console than now. Okay, I take that back. There were better times to pick up this console, but it's still a very good console for sure. Now, when you're buying a console like this, you're not necessarily buying the future of this console because there really isn't one. Versus consoles like the Xbox Series S and X and the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 5, you are investing in that console now to essentially get, a way better experience than the previous gen. With this console, it's the exact opposite. You're buying into that console to essentially play and experience everything that console had to offer. So it's almost like buying a stock at the end of its, I don't really know a good example, but this is a very good console in my opinion. Now, the very first reason why I would recommend buying the Nintendo Wii in 2021 is the endless amount of games that are available for this specific console. There is a game for every single letter combination and number combination in the alphabet and numerical number. You can literally put anything together, two random words, and there's probably a game out for it. And if you're lucky enough, not every single Nintendo Wii is compatible with this, but if you're lucky enough to get a Nintendo Wii that has backwards compatibility with the Nintendo GameCube games, that is without a doubt one of my favorite type of consoles out there. And it's very weird that Nintendo took that capability out. That really doesn't make too much sense to me. But having that type of capability where you're able to play Nintendo Wii and Nintendo GameCube games in the same format, in the same everything, with GameCube controller support at the top of the console, that is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I'm really, really weirded out that Nintendo didn't do that, even with something like a Nintendo Switch, to be honest, but it's really awesome, and that is one of my favorite things about this console. You have so many games for this thing. The graphics on top of that are really not that bad. This game console came out, I think like 2006 or something, 2007. This is a pretty old console, but it's not that bad, especially if you play games like, the Marios that came out. When you look at Super Mario Galaxy, that was such a great game in terms of a graphical standpoint, and even the refreshed version that the Nintendo Switch got, yes, it's better, but to be honest, it's still very surprising what Nintendo was able to do with the graphics in the Nintendo Wii, and all those Zeldas that came out for it too, dude. This is a very solid gaming console for sure, just from the gaming standpoint. But on top of that, you may be wondering, bro, what can you do outside of gaming? Well, there have been so many mods out for this Nintendo Wii. It's crazy the amount of modifications you had for this thing. At one point, I was playing PlayStation games on my Nintendo Wii, and modding it is really not that hard. I was pretty young when I started modding it, and it really wasn't that hard of a process. I get done with it pretty fast. And like I mentioned, when you have a console like this, you are pretty much, there's been so many movements for this thing. There's been so much development with this console that you're at the end of with the Nintendo Switch now modding it. It's pretty hard because there's new methods coming out. Some can't be modded, but the Nintendo Wii, almost all of them can be modded. So you can easily go ahead and modify this thing. You can do whatever you want to with it. I'm not going to go into super detail because I don't want this video taken down, but there is so much capability with this type of device. And it's just crazy to me that we really haven't gotten to this level with the Nintendo Switch for a majority of the Nintendo Switch consoles like the Nintendo Wii had, and even the Nintendo DSi and stuff, 3DS as well. This is a very solid console and the modding capability for it, which is one of my favorite things. Now, the last thing, and this kind of encompasses everything, the price of this console and the accessories of this console and the games of this console are super cheap nowadays, that if you're not trying to buy some limited edition random game that came out and there's 1 of 10 copies, you can pick these things up for pennies on the dollar. They are very cheap, and like I mentioned, the capability that you're going to get behind some of these games, some of the best games ever made came out for the Wii. Like I mentioned, Super Mario Galaxy, a lot of those Nintendo GameCube games you're able to play on the Nintendo Wii. There were a couple, there was the Animal Crossing that came out for this thing. There was the Smash that came out for this thing. Although it didn't have the craziest, maybe highest rated games ever, you have a large selection of games you could choose from. And if you get the backwards compatible Wii, you can go back to those. The accessories of this thing are super cheap as well. And the whole entire price of this console, you can get bundles of of these things for probably less than $30. And that's pretty crazy in my opinion. Like I mentioned, getting a game console like this when it's just super accessible to everyone is just so awesome. I currently have, I think, 2 or 3 Nintendo Wiis, and I own a Wii U, I own a Switch, I own the Xbox Series X and S, and all these other gaming consoles, but I still like my Nintendo Wii. I still think it has a place, even though I have all these newer consoles. I still look at my Nintendo Wii and I'm like, wow, this is a very solid console, and I love it a lot, and I'm probably going to end up marrying it. So that's essentially it, guys. I mean, I love this console. Hopefully you guys do too. If you have any other reasons why you love this specific console, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed the video, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.